After Tony Khan announced this week on Dynamite that he had indeed purchased Ring of Honor from Sinclair Broadcasting, has a lot of people talking about the idea that a streaming service or a partnership with an existing streaming service is just around the corner. And I'm about to tell you why that streaming service is likely going to be HBO Max, because honestly, that's the one that makes a lot of sense given the current landscape of AEW's business model, given the current landscape of AEW's existing agreements, existing partnerships, and given the fact that HBO Max just recently got into the live broadcasting sports business. HBO Max, for those who don't know, recently signed an agreement to air, I think it was like something around 20 games of the American soccer team. It was like the American soccer team. They're going to be airing a lot of the streaming, I should say, a lot of the qualifying matches for the World Cup. And that has really opened the door now, I think, for AEW to eventually agree to a deal if there's not already a deal in place. Andrew Zarian had previously said, he had not reported, but he had said that the announcement this week he'd heard at least that the announcement this week was supposed to be an announcement of a streaming deal with HBO Max, but in fact, we found out that this week's announcement was the purchase of Ring of Honor. That doesn't mean that there isn't an HBO deal in place. That doesn't mean that there's not going to be at some time. But HBO makes a lot of sense. Again, same parent company owns Turner, which are the channels that AEW is broadcasting with. Tony Khan likes to call TBS and TNT their partners in this venture of weekly pro wrestling television. So it would make a lot of sense. You have Peacock that has the WWE. HBO might want to get into the wrestling business. HBO is always looking for new content. And now that the Ring of Honor library, the Ring of Honor video library is now owned by Tony Khan, owned by AEW. That opens the door for AEW to create content that is honestly years, nearly a decade, more advanced than they would be right now. Because let's be honest, they've been around for 3 years. AEW's been around for 3 years. There's not a huge tape library that they can really drain from. They have to go out and find other ones. And again, WWE did the same thing. WWE bought all the AWA tapes. They bought all of these other smaller organizations or wrestling companies' tapes, and they put them out there on the network as content. That's what the business is now. It's content creation. That's where it's shifted. It's shifting, I should say, away from week-to-week TV being the bottom line to, content creation is also a massive part of it. Creating a brand, having things to draw from, and having the Ring of Honor library, the Ring of Honor video library for AEW was a must-get because it just made this company's value go way up. And let me tell you why. Now that you have the Ring of Honor video library, you're able to make documentaries like WWE makes WWE 24. AEW can do the same thing. Now they can make documentaries about people who they have in their company, like Bryan Danielson, like Jerry Lynn. Again, a lot of people forget Jerry Lynn's, I believe, one of I think he might be one of the best or one of the top producers, I should say, in AEW. So you have Jerry Lynn. He has a huge history in Ring of Honor. You have people like Bryan Danielson, like I said. You have people like Samoa Joe, who he's a free agent. Why wouldn't he say yes to a deal to make a documentary? Using tape that's in the Ring of Honor library that has some of Samoa Joe's best matches. You can also probably cut a deal with Impact to use some of their tape library. So there you go. You can make a documentary about Samoa Joe, CM Punk. The list goes on. Christopher Daniels. You can keep the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, all of AEW's biggest stars. You can make them bigger by putting out these documentaries or making content based around them, based around their time in Ring of Honor. I forgot who it was. Someone said that, I think it was like Sean Ross Sapp, having CM Punk and Bryan Danielson just kind of watch their own matches. That's a show in itself. Bryan Danielson watching wrestling is a show in itself because the way that man thinks about wrestling and portrays it with his facial expressions and everything is just brilliant. But so there's so much you can do. And now that they have the ability to create that content, they're going to need a platform to really stream that on and distribute that on. And HBO Max, again, always looking for new content. I'm telling you, If there's a streaming service out there that is going to take a chance on AEW, it is going to be HBO Max. The partnership's already in place, and don't be surprised, honestly, if there's already like an agreement and it just hasn't been announced, and it might be announced shortly. They're probably on my take was, you don't announce it now because you don't. It's too close to this pay-per-view, but. And again, I don't even think they're going to be doing the pay-per-views on HBO Max. I think they'll probably do like Battle of the Belts and that kind of stuff on HBO Max, but I don't see the pay-per-views going there unless they get like an insane amount of money. A boatload of money changes everything. But we'll see. Hey everyone, we hope you liked this video. If you did, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Until next time, keep it real.